Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I am Mick Alfany. We have a lot to cover today. We're going to jump right into it. Now, remember yesterday I was telling you how big, how massive the partnership or deal or whatever Stellar was doing in Africa that was announced the other day. Remember, I was talking about that. And of course, Ripple is not going to be outdone. I told you it was trillions of dollars. Now, Ripple is telling you the same thing. So literally a day or two after Stellar makes that Africa announcement, Ripple drops a bomb today and says, I'm going to read the headline to you. We're doing so good. Ripple adds new on-demand liquidity corridor with potential value of nearly $1 trillion. Boom. Oh my, I love reading about this money. Oh my goodness. Let's keep going. But do you see how they're overlapping also? You see how the new financial system is coming together? Ripple, XLM just made that announcement the other day. We covered that yesterday. Now Ripple makes this announcement. Coincidence? No. Did you see before how Ripple was in Southeast Asia region? Not Ripple, sorry about that. Stellar, Lightnet, EveryNet, right? One of the founders owns over 7,000 7-Elevens. That's also in play. That's XLM. And then Ripple came right away, dominating in Southeast Asia, correct? The new financial system. They work together. It's all coming together. Can you see? You saw Hedera have a meeting in the United Arab Emirates. And then who was in the United Arab Emirates right after Hedera made that announcement? Who made a post about the MENA region right after that? Ripple. They can't stop us. The proof is there. We're talking about facts. All right. Let me read this little tidbit here. Things are getting very good, in my humble opinion. Ripple's on-demand liquidity expands to Africa. I told you, Africa's going to explode. They have uncovered more gold, more minerals. They have shirked a lot of the control mechanisms of the West off of their shoulders. They are looking to take off over the next 10, 15 years. Everything happens in degrees, of course. It doesn't change the reality of the situation. That in the long money game, that's a lot of money. Let's continue on here. It says, after expanding its chain of on-demand liquidity corridors, muy linda, mi gente. I added that part, of course. To various countries around the world, Ripple has partnered with a major fintech company in Africa to help it set seamless and low-cost payments for its clients around the globe. ODL stands for on-demand liquidity. We know that. The necessity of bringing the system of electronic payments to MFS Africa has emerged as the amount of clients who are using mobile cash transfers on the continent is growing exponentially. This is exactly the same thing Stellar said the other day. And still, the blind cannot see the way. The flood that is coming. Hey, they can believe what they want. This is not financial advice. I'm not trying to sway you this way or that way. I'm just putting the facts on the table. Everybody that is in the know is saying the same thing. Let's continue on here. It is expected in the near future, the majority of mobile payment users globally will be from Africa and the Asia Pacific region. Always keep in mind the advent of the world moving towards gold or any other commodity or mineral based, however you want to say that, based currencies. Fiat currency will be a thing of the past. The dollar is going to run into massive problems. You can't get around that. Listen, I have an article we're about to cover a little bit later about the debt in the United States. Now, why the United States is highly in debt. I'll just say that so I can save some information for the article we're going to cover. There's chapters also if you like to jump around. Now, the United States is trillions of dollars in debt, right? The world debt is even more disgusting, right? But why hasn't that been a problem? You know why. It hasn't been a problem for the United States because the world reserve currency at this current time is the dollar, the petrodollar. It set the standard. So the debt hasn't been a problem because of that. But what happens when the dollar is no longer the world reserve currency? Do you understand what that's going to mean? They have already begun, both the BRICS nations as well as actors within the West who are destroying the oil industries. At least that's what they're trying to do. They're destroying it in the West, which is going to affect the dollar. So the fall of the dollar has already begun. So that protection as a world reserve currency will no longer be there. So then let's rewind it. Let's circle back around. So now I ask once more, how does that massive trillions of dollars of debt affect the United States and the power of the dollar, the buying power of the dollar in the future when the dollar is removed from being the world reserve currency? That is going to be a problem. So all gold-backed currencies, all backed, they don't have to be gold, all backed currencies, unless the United States implements something, like I said, like on-demand liquidity, instant liquidity, unless they use the bank coins, they are in trouble. and other powers around the world are going to continue to take off. But let's continue on here. We'll see how things go. We'll adjust accordingly, right? We win no matter what. But let's continue on here. It says 70% of the global population is in that region. Therefore, these areas are likely to attract many businesses that wire payments. I love how they're breaking everything down so clearly. Ripple's ODL will help them to access capital without traditional sources. The on-demand liquidity platform significantly improves various snags that usually emerge while making cross-border money transfers via traditional payment rails. Listen, and that's another thing. I'm going to need to make another members only video either today or tomorrow. Okay, so be on the lookout for that. Also, remember to scroll over if you don't have your notifications on. Go over to the members only, the community section or the members only section, and then read some of those posts, some of those links that I've been posting, some of the articles I've been posting. I think that they're very potent. Okay. But I'm just going to say this, and this is why I just thought of that. There's a major problem that is wonderful for all. Have you been paying attention to what's going on with the central banks lately? Have you been noticing a trend of who they're working with? It's a beautiful thing. Oh my God. They have painted themselves into a corner and are literally telling you, if you're reading the documents lately, they're literally telling you they painted themselves in a corner and they're going to need us. $1 trillion every time we're talking about XRP. Say it with me. We're talking about big money. Let's continue on here. All right. My goodness. XRP and XLM. We're always talking about big money with them, aren't we? Algorand as well. All the bank coins. So let's be fair. All the bank coins. Let's not leave anybody out. Here's an article here. And it's titled XRP Lawsuit. Blockchain Association files amicus brief. So many amicus briefs. Mr. Garlinghouse said it himself the other day. This is unprecedented. Never before have I personally seen anything like this. We have so much support. We will survive. We will be the last one standing. And that money will flood into us from a myriad of places, but especially because the rest of crypto will be eliminated. They were never prepared. They didn't want to fight. They didn't want to stand up. Only the bank coins have been having meetings with the governments, fighting with them, fighting and arguing and debating and trying to bring to reason the regulatory bodies. Remember, Ripple has been doing it for quite some time. That's highly publicized. Stellar has also been doing it. Remember the battles between Stellar and FAFTA? Stellar, what was the other one? FAFTA. And there's another regulatory body that Dinell was having debate with and trying to bring to reason and did. But they have been doing that. Algorand having multiple meetings with the governmental entities, right? Around the world, actually. So that's also a great thing. They are the only ones who have fought, so they will be the ones who benefit. But let's continue on here with this article. It says a lawyer, James Fallon, said that the Blockchain Association has formally filed its amicus brief in Ripple SEC lawsuit. The SEC's extremely broad interpretation of the securities laws would have devastating effects on the industry, the filing said. Earlier, Judge Annalisa Torres granted motions to file amici briefs To multiple supporters of Ripple and the SEC, the judge allowed 11 applicants to file briefs. The association, 6 XRP holders, I love that, Coinbase, Valhill, Cryptillion, Veridao, the CCI, Reaper Financial, Invest Ready, NSEI, and Paradigm. My goodness, I love it. Throw your punches, everyone. Get in there, throw some punches, throw some kicks. Perhaps an elbow drop, Macho Man Randy Savage style. It says here, XRP's chances on November 7th, attorney Jeremy Hogan predicted that the SEC's motion for summary judgment might not get approval over several claims. He said the commission cannot meet the burden of the Howey test. It's almost over and time is ticking. I want that victory more than almost anyone. We're going to have it. The Howey test is a criterion. The U.S. Supreme Court is an outdated, antiquated, nonsensical thing. That's what it is. And it doesn't apply to crypto. It doesn't. But the West, if they want to shoot themselves in the foot, they've definitely been doing a good job. We're going to get into that later also when we talk about the West. It's not just the United States, it's Europe. And my goodness, Europe. I'm going to wag my finger at you, Europe. What are you doing? But hey, like I said, you want to harm yourself, go right ahead. We win no matter what. And I have already predicted the mass exodus that has already been occurring from the West, going to greener pastures, places where they're more regulatory friendly, tax friendly. There's more real estate is more a bounteous selection when it comes to real estate. Everything's better. Security is better, right? So people have been making a mass exodus. Never forget the advent of the digital nomad. And there will be more iterations of that. People will outright leave the West if it is unfriendly to the new 1%. It's already been happening. Right? Let's continue on here. Here's another article and it's titled, SEC versus Ripple case sees new twists and turns as whale holdings in XRP skyrocket. Why? Of course. They know that that price is going to be delicious. Muy linda. So they're just accumulating. We've heard this also about the institutions. So now you have the whales, retail whales, and you have both the institutions being reported as accumulating while they shake out everybody else. Everybody's getting shaken. Allen Iverson crossover on Jordan. Everybody out there is Jordan. And I love Jordan, by the way. So, hey, there's no slight to Jordan. Greatest of all time, in my humble opinion. We could debate that. I win. I watched the man fly through the air like a bird. Like, anyway, they're getting shaken out of their boots. All the while, the institutions, the whales, everyone who knows something, probably a lot of governmental officials, allegedly, because you know how they do, allegedly corruption is rampant within all of these governmental entities. They're all accumulating. But hey, retail does what they want. XRP whales holding between 1 and 10 million XRP are on a buying spree. You don't say. Didn't I say, listen, when those markets are down, that's when a lot of the big money people, or rather they know how to make big money. Let me just put it that way. Come in and they just buy everything. Didn't I say that before? I said it's almost time everybody's going to start buying everything in sight. And look at what's happening. People have been buying everything in sight. They said, well, we'll get to that in a moment. It says, are on a buying spree as the case pitting Ripple and SEC enters twists and turns. Binance on-chain data shows that an anonymous wallet transferred 60 million XRP, worth approximately $28 million at the time. Almost at the same time, 60 million XRP was sent from Bitstamp, valued roughly at 28.4 million to another crypto wallet. They're getting ready. Everyone's getting prepared. Everyone's getting ready. Time is running down, is winding down. And my goodness, I'm excited for a massive explosion whenever this case is over. It's just getting more and more exciting. More corridors open up. More partnerships are being brought in. This has been a really good time, really fun time. So now we have another article here. Ripple's 2022 Q3 report highlighting achievements amid plunging markets. That's because we don't have anything to do with the rest of the market. Why do you keep associating us, the bank coins, any of us, with the rest of crypto or any other market? We don't have anything to do with them. We are utility coins in a class of our own. Never before have you seen anything like what we have, like what we hold, like what we build. We will continue to be that. And so you're not going to understand why we continue to grow exponentially while everyone else continues to downsize. They're firing everybody inside. Mass layoffs, deceleration, like I said. But let's continue on here. Ripple's holdings are below 50%. You know what's funny? Well, you know what? I'm not even going to mention that because there's some certain people still pushing, mainstream people still pushing the propaganda. And I actually was listening to certain information, I'll put it that way, that was still alleging Ripple was in control of XRP outright. Like Ripple owned the majority of XRP. This is literally what a mainstream individual said. I just listened to this the other day. That's insane that individual said that on a mainstream news station. That's not true. We all know that's not true. How many times do the mainstream media have to lie to the people before they realize that when these individuals open their mouth, most of the time, I think about 100% of the time, yes, I'm saying it like that, 100% of the time, these individuals are ready to lie. Anyway, Ripple's holdings are below 50% for the first time after critics pointed to the company's controlling. Well, it wasn't because of that. There's a necessary reason. They're proving a point by doing that. And it's a good point to prove by having less than 50%. And it's very good. It's going to be good for the case. They had more extreme thoughts, if you remember, earlier in the year and last year. But let's continue on here. Ripple marched into new frontiers as on-demand liquidity went live in Brazil last quarter. Total XRP sales by Ripple net of purchases Q3 stood at $310 million. Down from $408 million in Q2. That doesn't make any difference at all. What matters now is the setup, getting the corridors set up so that the flow of XRP will be constant and there will be a constant high value. That's what matters. Same thing with XLM, same thing with Algorand. And they've been doing a beautiful job. Hedera, Cello, same thing. Quant, same thing, XDC, all right? They've been doing a beautiful job setting up the corridors. We need them. The infrastructures, same thing. And to any entity that needs a sandbox, offering them that. Ripple has been doing that. Hedera has been doing that. I'm quite sure the other Bitcoin companies also do that. They just don't publicize it. So offering them the tools that they need to learn how to use the system. So that way, when the switch is flipped, then the flow will not stop. Then it's playtime, everyone. So that's what they've been doing. And it's been going very well, in my humble opinion. Ripple XRP has released its quarterly XRP market report showing the company's performance in the industry, including its recent development, community relations. According to the report, Ripple's XRP holdings, they iterate things multiple times. It's on-demand liquidity was stronger this quarter as it entered new markets with customers using the service for both individual and bulk payments. That's the beauty of it. Ripple partnered with Travelex Bank to launch ODL in Brazil, a key market in Latin America. It's a prime market. They have the biggest digital bank and they have the biggest digital push in Latin America at this particular time. The partnership will enable users to transfer funds between Brazil and Mexico. We know that. Ripple sale. Okay, so then they go over a little bit of information that they iterated already. So let's jump to another article here. So I wanted to cover this. Ripple made this tweet here and it reads, Web3 for business. Tap into its power today. Did you know, here's the interesting part. Did you know the global Web3, which is brand new, the global Web3 market is expected to reach a value of $81.5 billion by 2030. Now, I want to say this. While that's a delicious number, and I'm of the understanding that they always give you a conservative estimate. No one wants to be, how could I put it? They don't want to be super wrong. Like if you give a crazy high number, then you're wrong. It feels a little bit worse than if you give a conservative estimate. At least you were close. You could say you were close, right? This is a conservative estimate. So while that money is very good, it will be much higher. Web3, come on now. NFTs, Web3, the moving of real estate back and forth, value, tokenization of debt, tokenization of securities. People are doing that, a lot of that on their computers. They will be utilizing Web3 on their cell phones. Come on now. That's not going to be 81.5 billion. It'd be much more than that by that time, in my humble opinion. Now, I could be completely wrong, but just seeing how look how rapidly everything is moving. Then on top of that, I don't think they're taking it into account when you're talking about Web3, all of the banks that are going full digital. Look at the oldest bank. We have to get onto Stellar once again when we're talking about this. Stellar working with the oldest bank in Europe, Bankhaus Vonderheit. They are making a huge push to go fully digital because they know it's going to save money. And then getting involved digitally, they're able to move more value, take more capital in. They will thrive like never before. All the other banks are seeing this. They're seeing a myriad of banks do it. And so they're going to get involved also. So people are not taking into account that banking money. Probably, I think a lot of them don't mention that banking money coming through Web3, especially like you look at so-called metaverse, which is just virtual reality, really. There's a myriad of different virtual reality offerings, but looking at things like that, and especially people working in virtual reality, like having virtual offices and you buy your uniform virtual, trust me, that's coming. I have seen iterations of it, like tests of things like that already, right? And they're not difficult to find on the internet. But anyway, they're not taking that into account. And I think that they don't mention it much because they don't want to spark FOMO. They don't want FOMO runs. So if you pay attention closely, they're quiet on a lot of things that could spark FOMO. There's certain things you just don't hear about, right? But if you research, you'll see that it's these are possibilities. These are things that are discussed, just not mentioned in the mainstream for a reason. All right, so now I just wanted to read that little tidbit there. That was interesting, and it was retweeted by Ripple. So let's continue on here. So now we have this little tweet here. Algorand is bringing in more heavy hitters for another big push. Wait until you see what Algorand is going to be doing in 2023. There's a reason they're strategically bringing in nothing but heavy hitters, nothing but experienced people. Everything has been meticulous. So you have this tweet here from Stacy Wharton. Hi, Algo fam. I am super excited to announce that we have hired Min Wei to run global ecosystem growth at Algo Foundation. Listen, Algorand is I'm excited to see what they're going to be announcing when it comes to Europe. Remember, they had the European accelerator, what they're going to be announcing in Africa. Remember, they've been deep in Africa from Koi Banks. They're deep in Latin America. Look at all their work they're doing with the Miami Accelerator. And they're bringing in Min Wei to pull it all together, to put the sprinkles on top. It's almost time. They know it. It's almost time. Algorand has done the most work, I think, building in every possible way. They're even deep in the medical industry. And the team is second to none. The teams matter. The teams are what make the deals, will bring in the partnerships. I'm happy to see this. I'm excited about 2023, especially if we get an ending to this Ripple case versus the SEC. I expect Algorand to be one of the prime blockchain companies just dropping massive information after massive information. And I could be wrong. Now we have this article here. Web3 leader Denell Dixon on regulation. Denell Dixon is trying to tell these people, hey, everybody should have fought together, should fight together for a proper regulation, for fair treatment. But let's read this here. It says, as a lawyer for Yahoo in 2007, Denell Dixon watched Congress grill her bosses about the mishandling of personal user information. Now, Dixon is the CEO of a nonprofit called Stellar Development Foundation. Let's skip past that little part here. Let's go here. It says, we may be looking at some quickly unfolding regulation, which is an area where you have expertise, which I don't understand. You can't rush regulation. You can't. For years, we've gone with the SEC, which I don't know why they were at the helm, but they were, with the SEC being completely clueless. You have blockchain companies coming to them and asking them, hey, What's going on with these regulations? Hey, what are we supposed to comply with? And Brad Garlinghouse and Ripple themselves have said they don't tell you what to comply with. And also Coinbase told you, didn't they? They say, hey, they're not even telling us what to comply with. They're just hitting people with fines. They say you need to comply. Then you're saying, you'll ask them a question like, what? Well, what do we need to comply with? They give you no answer, hit you with a fine. They're just revenue collectors. This has been a symptom or something going on within the United States government for a long time, where a lot of enforcement individuals and entities are not really issuing regulation or playing by the rules, so to speak. They're just collecting revenue. That's it. But anyway, let's continue on here. It says, yeah, and the challenge that we now have is that SBF spent a lot of time gaining credibility with a lot of these regulators. Well, that's not our challenge. That speaks to their corruption because they were paid off. Sam Bankman-Fried allegedly paid a lot of money to all those politicians, including the ones in office, correct? That's what they allege. And so they all gave him a golden pass. So that's on them. They should be investigated. They should be looked at. There should be regulation on them so they're not accepting money from people. And when they accept that money, then they have to do favors. That sounds familiar. Accepting money and doing favors. Right. So that shouldn't be allowed. Why does it all fall on crypto? Why would the people allow that? The people need to not allow that. The people need to roar and hold these political individuals and so-called powers of the world accountable and stop letting them hold you accountable for what they did. It says, I feel like as an industry, we've taken a tremendous amount of steps forward. We have. And now we're 100 steps back. No, we're not. No, we're not. And I wouldn't concede that. We don't need to concede anything to them. The Bankcoin family hasn't done anything wrong. As a matter of fact, we did everything right. Let's not take on the burdens of other external crypto entities that have nothing to do with us. They don't do the same thing that we did. And we should separate ourselves from that and make it clear. Not all of crypto is one. Crypto is an overarching term that should not be used by regulators and politicians because you're painting a false picture. We have to make that clear. We need to stand up and stand strong. We need to speak and speak strong. Show no weakness before the enemy. Listen, this is a war. This is a fight. You can't back down now. You can't be weak now. I'm not talking about Donnell. I mean across the board. We can't be weak now. Strong in, strong out. That's the way it is. Strong in, strong out. And leave no one behind. Right? And I mean the bank coins. Leave no one behind. Let's go here. It says here, do you think we're going to have political theater, whether it's Elizabeth Warren or AOC? They're going to want to question the people involved in consumer protection. In what way can they question anything? In what way? On what grounds? They don't know enough. I know because I've listened to a lot of the information that they are speaking, which was clearly given to them. They do not understand the technology. What questions can they raise? If they do anything, it's superficial. We need to get to the substance. Who actually is in control of these things and not just putting on a certain face for the public. We need to get to the substantial actors here who actually can put forth fair regulation on companies that were compliant. As simple as that. Don't use the term crypto. Let's go company by company. And company by company, the bank coins are in the clear 100%. We're nowhere near these other beings over here. Let's continue with it. Let's continue on. It says, yeah, I do. You see that already happening with Warren's letter last month, where there's a lot of good focus on consumer protection, right? Are the consumer, there's so much hypocrisy. Are the consumers going to be protected from the alleged insider trading that was exposed last month of Congress? Are they going to be protected from that? Are they going to be protected from all of the, how can I put it, vicarious nepotism? You know, favor for a favor. Pay me some money and I'll do you a favor. Isn't that what Donnell just talked about with Sam Bankman-Fried paying all you politicians money only for you to turn a blind eye to what he was doing and to support everything that he wanted to do? Isn't that, shouldn't they be protected from that? Right. Okay. Shouldn't they be protected? Well, let me go. Shouldn't they be protected from the Fed producing so much money and making all these bad monetary policy decisions? Shouldn't they be protected from that? Because correct me if I'm wrong, the people are suffering because of your policies across the board. All you politicians. I don't have love for any of you. right? But shouldn't they be protected from you and your wrongs? Are you held accountable for making the people suffer, creating an environment where the people suffer? Facts. Facts. The Fed printed all that money. They allowed the private banks to go rogue and continue to issue debt, which creates dollars, which creates money flow, right? Correct? All right. They allow all of that to happen. And that causes what? Inflation. So the people are paying more money. They can't live the same way that they did before. They still have that extra pressure and stress on their mind because they know prices were going up, because they know they lost money. Should they be protected from that? Right. But crypto is your main focus. Right. Let's continue right here. How do you evangelize to the lay people? It says to the lay people that blockchain technology underneath crypto has nothing to do with coin prices or these scandals. Listen, I'm so tired of this nonsense. First of all, the coin prices are what have funded your projects. So you can't say that. Right? It says, let me read this. It says, when you're dealing with value in people's money, it's very hard for people to make that distinction. And I'm not talking about like Danelle. Danelle's doing a great job. But these interviewers try to set you up, man. Not the Danelle, but anybody. They always try to set you up. They paint a negative picture. They love negativity. All of this society right now, and this is why the West is doing so bad. Everything has been poisoned. Their media is negative. Everything they do, they sell negativity, right? Poison for the mind. Their media is negative. The music is negative. The movies are negative. There's nothing positive at all. Their politicians are negative. Everything is negative. It says here, when you're dealing with value in people's money, it's very hard for people to make that distinction. They're going to be concerned about crypto, which is why one of the things we always really focus on is the use of stable coins. We've already seen an increase in stablecoin usage. Well, you focus on stablecoins because you know that that's going to be the easiest thing to get to cause regulations to be passed for, because the government at one time were in love with stablecoins. This is what is inspiring them to look at the digital dollar. And for some of them to even say, we don't even need a digital dollar, just let stablecoins do it. That's what a lot of the central banks have said in their own documents, all right, that anybody can read and anybody can look up. So that's why you've been focusing on that. And then also you don't want to go up one-on-one, mano-a-mano with the SEC right now. You want to allow Ripple to do the job. So let's just be truthful about that. That's how I feel about that. Now let's continue right here. It says, when this all subsides, how does the industry return to the benefits of blockchain and give people that much subtler message? Like, what do you mean when this all, like, this has, my goodness. FTX's problems have to do with FTX and anybody associated with them. That's it. They're over there. What's that have to do with any of the bank coins? Nothing. Nothing at all. We don't need to answer. This is another thing. We don't need to answer, or no one needs to answer for something someone else did that's not even connected to you. You shouldn't be blamed for it. Don't let these people play that game. Separate yourself from those individuals. You don't have to be a group. You don't have to be grouped up. No one's a power over you. Reject the power, reject the false authority, and separate yourself from those individuals. Don't let these people keep grouping everybody together. Make that distinction, make it strongly, stand on that and move forward. Simple as that. Stellar's been doing a great job. They're not in trouble. They've been compliant. They've been transparent. They've been doing it. And things have been going very well. And they're going to be around for a long time and be very, very successful, in my humble opinion. So that's how I feel about that. And yes, the price does matter. And the coin's price, I feel, is going to raise. I think logically so. That's why it was designed that way. Crypto, part of it is about the price going up. They're trying so hard. They don't want people to have generational wealth. They really don't, but you can't stop it. We're going to continue to fight. We're not going to let you have your way. You got a battle on your hands. We're going to continue to fight. And we have the people. We're going to continue to free the minds of the people who you tried to constrain, whose minds want to break free now. They don't want to hear what you have to say anymore. You mainstream media individuals. You've been lying to them the entire time. That's why when they come over here, they're so shocked to hear the truth from people. From any of these YouTubers out here that are telling the truth. A lot of them are. They're telling it like it is. They're letting it all hang loose. And I've been enjoying it. So they want that. It's refreshing. It's like a glass of fresh water. So now let's continue on here. So we have an article here and it says, can the fast recovering quant price surpass the 130 mark? You know, the other day we read a quant article and it was saying how quant could possibly continuously be going down, something like that. My apologies if I'm not eloquent today, but they made it seem as though quant was going to keep going down and woe is me. Then what did I say? I said at any minute quant could go up, and what happened? It went up again. Of course, bro. Quant is explosive, and the people have gotten a taste of how easy it is to send quant's price skyrocketing, right? And so it's always a chance it could go up. Now it could go down, of course. Like there's so much turmoil, but let me bring back the reality. None of this matters. Quant's all-time high, what, $468? That was before they landed all these deals. Let me say it again. That was before they had all these partnerships and deals. Didn't they? They just brought in Sia Chain and Sia Partners, what, earlier this year? They just were doing all those deals with LAC Chain, what, in the summer? And they already, look how high the price was. This doesn't matter. Quant, with all the partnerships they have right now and all the banks they're trying to bring in, can you imagine how many deals they did at CBOS, how many partnerships they brought in at CBOS? Because at CBOS, you're making the contacts, but after that, you have the meetings. So, what, 468, 450 all-time high? Something like that. I don't know. You could look it up. But it was delicious. But it was nothing. Quant is a $1,000 coin. Easy. My humble opinion, not financial advice, and doesn't matter to me whether you buy Quant or not. Make your own decisions. Doesn't matter to me at all. These are not for retail. So make your own decision. You understand? All right. So now let's continue on here. So this article is titled, French Energy Minister recuses herself from Perenco oil dossier. Oh, you recused yourself. Let's see why you recused yourself. Oh, these politicians, they're so nice. They're our heroes, our kings and our queens. They're going to help us. They're going to lead the way. Yeah. Let's read why this individual recused themselves. France's public standards watchdog said it will look into media reports about assets held by Pierre Runachet's children after investigative media reported that Pierre's father had made her three children shareholders of a company with assets of 1.2 million euro with the aim of avoiding inheritance tax. It's about time you got to the point. My goodness, making me go through all of that. Just get to the point. Okay, so they tried to avoid inheritance tax or something. All right. Pierre Runachet had not declared the existence of this company to the watchdog, the high authority of transparent and public life. They're just one of the few. You know how many, my goodness, the corruption in these politicians runs so deep. You think that's all? Like, do you think that's one of the bigger problems and issues? All throughout the West is well known how these things go. The problem with it, let's say like in the United States is that it's so deep. It's like almost like a mafia type of situation where everybody watches each other's backs, right? In corruption, they make sure there's no authority above them that's not corrupt or blackmailed that could really bring down accountability on their heads. That's how it goes. The article is titled The Amazing Uptrend of Getty Realty Corporation, REIT. At a time when most real estate investment trusts, REITs, are declining in value almost daily, the upward movement in price of Getty Realty Corp is an extraordinary example of bucking the trend. Many REITs are just now bouncing a bit off ugly 52-week lows. Meantime, Getty just hit beautiful all-time highs. At the beginning of November, the company reported better revenues than expected and began its daily march to higher highs. Last week, the REIT broke out to levels above the highs as it continued to embarrass other REITs in the sector who haven't been keeping up. Getty Realty, with a market capitalization of $1.5 billion, is not one of the majors. But that hasn't stopped investors from piling in. Of course not. They're smart and they saw an opportunity to make money. They got in there and boom. That's what research, that's what knowing catalyst does, right? The company has a price earnings PE ratio of 19 and trades at 2 times its book value. A dividend of 5.21% is being paid at this price, right? Let's continue on here. So now we have this Apple Pay. Apple Pay has enabled crypto payments using Circle's USDC. So we know they have issued USDC on many different blockchains, but the one that they're heaviest with is Stellar. Stellar USDC is available everywhere. So this could get very interesting, and that USDC will flow seamlessly from one interoperable chain to the other. And I believe Stellar is one of the most interoperable, but we'll see how that works. USDC issuer Circle has announced that crypto payments using the stablecoin are now enabled on Apple Pay. Select businesses will be able to accept USDC in a safer and faster manner using Apple Pay. This is another reason why we need regulatory clarity right now. So Stellar can deploy everywhere in a variety of different ways. Its USDC offering all over the United States while the dollar is still powerful, right? This move will ensure inclusiveness for crypto native businesses and customers who don't use crypto. USDC coin issuer Circle has announced that Apple has enabled crypto payments using the stablecoin on their platform. So they can use any version of USDC is what I'm looking at. Merchants who accept USDC will now be able to do so using Apple Pay. All right, so be it. Okay. So now let's move on here. So more trickles of mass adoption is really what it is. Now this was a little bit troubling for me. It says EU, European Union, moving to ban privacy coins, right? Because you can't stop them. You could just ban them so the people are afraid to use them. I had said for so long that no matter what they do with the regular crypto, privacy coins will be around. Now you have them here attacking privacy coins because they know, look, in the European Union and a lot of the West, what they're moving toward is the absolute control of the people. They want to know everything you do, no privacy at all whatsoever, right? They want to be able to listen in on what you do, watch your bank account. Anytime they want your information, they can have anything, right? This is what they want. And the people need to push back if you want anything to remain private. Once again, I iterate, I think there's going to be a mass exodus. If they're able to pull off all of this nonsense, taking away everybody's privacy, everyone's rights and such. And I see a mass exodus out of the West for anybody who's wise and has the capital to do so. But let's continue on here. So the European Union reportedly has plans to restrict or ban the use of privacy coins in its jurisdiction. The thinking behind the potential ban appears to be primarily concerned with, of course, they're going to mask it, guise it with money laundering. Oh, it's so bad. They always do that with everything. They use one bad actor or one bad thing to ban everybody. It doesn't matter if you're good and then this person is bad. Nope, because that bad person did something, all of you get punished together. That's stupid. Obviously, you just want to control everyone. It doesn't matter that we're good. It doesn't matter that our entire lives, we didn't make any waves. We didn't do anything wrong. We're not money laundering. But no, none of you can have privacy coins. Does that make sense to you? No, it only makes sense if who you're dealing with is totalitarian. What they believe is what has to be. That's it. What they believe and what they want is the only way that it can be. That's totalitarian. We'll see what the people do. We'll see. It says, as on-chain surveillance becomes more sophisticated and legislators on both sides of the Atlantic become increasingly vigilant, the case for privacy preserving cryptocurrencies is ever more apparent. Yeah, the people want their privacy. You don't need to know what everybody is spending if they're regular citizens. Let them have their little bit of freedom, while they're alive on this planet, So anyway, I'm not even going to read any more of that. It just darkens the mood, but I just wanted to put that on the table for everyone. If I was in the European Union and that actually passed and that actually went through, yeah, I'd leave. There's much better places to live. I'm not bound to anywhere. That's how I personally feel. So if you're going to be totalitarian and you're going to infringe on my rights and such, and you're going to try to enforce something on me just because you believe a certain way and because somebody else did something bad, now I have to suffer. No, I'm not going to stand for that. Simple as that. I'm out of here. Simple as that. Either we're going to have to fight and maybe there's some pushback maybe they can remedy that, right? The people make a push and they can remedy that. If not, come on now, I'm not living under anybody's rulership. No, especially not a corrupt regime. No. And I'm fully against any adult feeling as though they rule over me at all. Why would I think there's some other adult who I don't know their education level? I don't trust them. I don't know them. They're not my family. Why should I trust what you want? That what you want is best for me and my family. I don't. I trust me. That's who. I trust me. I feel like I know what's best. And I'm going to continue to do well. I'm going to continue to do the best for my family. I think I think a lot of adults feel like that. But we were born into a system where the old generations allowed these false rulers to do what they're doing now. So this here says Federal Reserve's balance sheet may see $2.5 trillion overall reduction, Fed's Harker says. Let's read this little tidbit here. It says Philadelphia Fed President Patrick Harker's, quote, best guess for how much the Federal Reserve's $8.67 trillion balance sheet will decrease overall is $2.5 trillion. That's it. Come on now. It's unbelievable. I think the debt of the United States is up to $30 trillion right now. With the de-dollarization of the world, the death of the petrodollar as it is being destroyed by both the BRICS nations as well as actors within the West itself. That debt is going to be so devastating to the power of the dollar. When the dollar, the United States dollar is no longer the world reserve currency, it's going to crush the West. It could be crushing to the West. This is why so many people are screaming, hey, continue forward with instituting the new financial system. Because they continue to run that debt up. What are they saying here? Like this 8.67 trillion. That, listen, like I said, the United States is $30 trillion in debt. 30 trillion. That number is only going to go up. Anyway, they're going to need to take action. That on that end is not looking good. And they're not being held accountable. They're holding everyone else accountable. Everybody's a problem. Crypto is a problem. But what they're doing in crushing the West, absolutely, in crushing the United States, its own government crushing it, they're not being held accountable. No media sources are talking about that. No media sources are upset about $30 trillion in debt and the death of the petrodollar, which is mind-blowing in my humble opinion, because all these millionaires that don't know how to diversify, don't know how to protect their value and such like that, or just holding cash. And I mean, like, when that dollar goes down, the people that are in crypto, I think, are going to be fine. They're very educated. They know how to protect value. They know how to buy other currencies, protect their currencies with gold. They have gold cards and stuff like that. They're holding value in gold and silver. Then they got the little cards where you could spend that value from the gold outright, directly from the gold, like you would do crypto, right? They know all of these different things. But it's mind blowing that the legacy people who may not know that, I don't think a lot of them know that. They think the dollar is king. They don't even see the setup. They're so blinded by riding in their Lambos and buying mansions and all this nonsense, superficial nonsense, that I don't think they see what's coming. I really don't, because they're aiding it along. Anyway, let's continue on here. So we have an article here and it's titled, U.S. Stocks, Wall Street rises on inflation data, but geopolitical tensions cut gains. Let's read this a little bit here. It says U.S. producer prices rise less than expected. Walmart jumps on strong forecasts. Other retailers rise. Indexes up. Dow 0.03%, S&P 0.74%, NASDAQ 1.4%. The S&P 500 and NASDAQ were higher on Tuesday, but gains were cut after a report that redacted crossed into Poland and redacted to people. I have to say it like that. Somewhat undermining hopes that cooling inflation would lead to a pullback in rate hikes by the U.S. Federal Reserve. So they're going into all of this war stuff here that I'm not going to cover here, because YouTube is not kind to this channel. By the way, if you made it this far, please click the like button. I would greatly appreciate that. Support the channel. Thank you so much for being here, by the way. We have a few more articles, then we're gonna close this out. So then we have an article actually here about the national debt. So this is actually on CNN. So kudos to CNN for actually putting this up. It takes some guts to cover this. There's a lot of powerful entities that don't want media saying certain things. Trust me, I know this, and I think you've seen a lot of it. A lot of people can't say certain things because they'll get in trouble, but you've seen a lot of suppression or oppression, however you want to put it, of people's voices. Like they don't want you saying certain things, and they will take action against you if you say certain things. So to see CNN say something like this, to me, it's interesting. It's impressive. But I also know that they need the ratings also. Like they need the views, really, right? America's national debt has now surpassed $31 trillion. 31 trillion, I told you. America's national debt has climbed north of $31 trillion for the first time, a milestone that comes at a time of historically high inflation, rising interest rates, and growing economic uncertainty. All of that. And this is good. They're starting off good in this article. They're telling the truth so far. Good job. Okay. The nation's total public debt outstanding closed at $31 trillion. United States, Americans' national debt. United States of America. Let's be specific. Citizens, you better start asking questions. You better stop fighting over superficial nonsense. You better start paying attention to this right here. Listen, it used to be a thing for politicians to talk about kicking the can down the road to future generations. It's not going to be that. No, it's not. This problem is going to rear its ugly head soon enough because of the BRICS nations and because of the ending of the petrodollar. The world won't care about your dollar anymore. Your debt is going to have to get paid. If that were to happen, 31 trillion? Let's continue on from here. Let's just move on. They don't want to tackle that. Oh my goodness. Anyway, so here we have another article, and it's titled "High Interest Rates, Canada Housing Market." This has been across the globe. Everything has been feeling it. Most of the real estate markets have been feeling it. Anyway, let's read this little tidbit here. Canada's housing market has gone cold, with buyers sidelined by soaring borrowing costs and sellers holding off listing in hopes of a spring rally. While higher interest rates mean prices need to fall more before any rebound materializes, experts say. So we've been following how the markets have been hurting in the United States, and now you have it here in Canada, right? We also been following a massive layoffs. So, I mean, with all of these things, you're getting a clear picture. Massive national debt in the United States, unclear monetary policy, horrible foreign policy. We're looking at everything all together factually. Do you see the picture that's coming together? I mean, I would think the wise would take precautionary measures. Protect your value at all costs. Protect your life. Keep your guard up. High guard. Keep your chin down. Keep your chin down. Keep your chin protected. Ribs protected. Protect yourself at all times. So my father used to tell me about boxing, but I apply that to life. Okay, we'll close out with this article here. Sterling hits 3-month high after U.S. wholesale inflation dents the dollar. So the dollar got a little weak. Every time the dollar gets a little bit weak, all the other currencies explode. I mean, this is formulaic at this point. The volatility is quite predictable at this point. The rise in U.S. prices at the farm and factory gate was much milder than forecast in October, adding to the relief among investors after last week's consumer data that inflation may well have peaked, thereby giving the Federal Reserve scope to slow down its monetary policy tightening. We'll see about that. Then there was an article out yesterday saying that they're still hawkish. They're so confused. The data knocked down the dollar by as much as 2.3% against the pound, which touched its highest since August the 18th. Yeah. All right. So now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. So until next time, let's get to the money.